Hey guys, good afternoon. It's Sunday here, and I decided to go out for a bike ride today instead of running, just to take it easy on my legs. I've been having some running related injuries, and I'm going to try to make it up to Minot today. I want to try to get into a more rural area. I'm hoping that there will be some roads that aren't so congested with traffic and don't have so many stoplights. I would say Japan is really developed in the sense that, well, more people bicycle here in terms of they do it for more practical reasons like shopping, getting around town. Whereas I would say America is more developed in terms of bicycling for the sake of sports. So, when I lived in America, I could find a country road nearby and just bicycle down that road, for a long time without having to worry about traffic, stop signs. You can't really find that here. On the other hand, a lot of people bicycle here just to do daily errands. So that's more accepted here. All right, I'm gonna head out and I'm gonna go hard for about an hour, and then I'll turn on the camera again and show you where I actually got to. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to my destination. And then I'll kind of take it easy on the way back and pull out my camera here and there and show you some scenery. All right, let's go. All right, guys, I hit my destination. I've been going for an hour. I'm pretty winded. It was a headstrong wind the whole way. Plus I was climbing. I'm gonna check the elevation later, but here I am. I made it to Minot. Nothing really spectacular. I think if I went more north, it would clear out a little and get more rural. It would actually start to get rural from here on out, I believe. And I think it's all steep mountains after this. But yeah, I've been going for an hour now. I'm pretty tired, so I'm gonna head back and I'll get some shots for you on my way back. But it should be easy because I'll have a tailwind and I'll be going downhill. Well, I'm kind of going on a loop here, so now I'm heading back down south. At least there's a bike lane on this road. That 176 that I rode up was just shit. It was a narrow road, no bike lane, lots of traffic, lots of people out on the road today. It's Sunday, people are shopping. I'll have to get back on that road, 176, in a bit here, and I'll show you what that's like. Okay, I'm gonna pull into a Family Mart here and change my shirt, or I brought an extra shirt for warmth. Put that on. All right, I got this black undershirt on. That'll keep me warm. Look at all the sweat on my shirt I was wearing. That's all on my back. That's because I have this backpack here. Okay, now I'm layered up a little bit, and I'm gonna head back down the mountain. Hey guys, how you doing? This part of the video is just gonna be me talking about my life, but first of all, while I talk, I'm gonna show you a part of my ride back home. This is just a very short part. But as you can see here, the roads are really narrow. They're narrow compared to where I grew up in the United States. We have really wide lanes on the side of the road, for cars to pull over in case they have mechanical troubles, or for bicyclists, but here you can see there's almost nothing. I really enjoyed the ride back because, like I said, it was downhill and I had a tailwind, and I was going kind of slow here because I was just steering my bicycle with one hand and holding the camera with the other hand. But once I put the camera away, I was flying. I was going as fast as the cars. So it was a fun ride back. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about my life in general and my life this week, so you guys can listen and enjoy the scenery. You can enjoy the scenery of Japan while you listen to me talk about life in Japan. Well, my two rocks in my life right now, The things that are really helping me hold it together and not go off the deep end and go postal and buy a machine gun and kill everybody. The two things that are keeping my life together right now and keeping me together mentally and helping me get through these hard times are my training and my work. Well, for training, basically I just run now. That's basically what I do, and I do that because it's free. I'm kind of on a limited budget here, and gym memberships are a little expensive here, more expensive than you'd pay in the United States. Running is free, and it's not something I'm good at either. But when I go out running, I just put on a podcast and I just run and I just go, and my mind kind of goes into this, auto mode where I'm just moving, and it kind of takes me away from my thoughts and my bad headspace. And if I'm listening to a podcast, I'm kind of caught up in the stories that I'm listening to on the podcast. Sometimes I don't listen to the podcast though. Sometimes I don't put in the earplugs. I just run. And I do have my thoughts, but I let them come to me, and I don't resist. I don't fight it. It's not like I'm trying to prevent myself from having certain thoughts. But I find that when I run, it just really clears my head. And training, more than anything, gives me a sense of achievement, at least a short-term sense of achievement. So training helps me in that way. Now work helps me a lot. Despite all the complaining I've ever done about working, my work life actually isn't that bad now. I just work part-time as an English teacher. And actually the worst job that I had for over 10 years, for 11 years, I worked at an events company on the weekends, working at Christian weddings. And it was a very, very, very strict work environment, very, very stressful. So teaching English is a piece of cake compared to that. Now, I don't make as much money as I used to, but that's okay. My life is less stressful now. And, I'm thankful that I have work. When I go to work and I teach English, and I'm not just teaching English, but I'm teaching English at a school that I like, with a boss that I respect, with people that I really care for. I'm not just doing a job. I'm doing a job that I'm emotionally invested in, and I genuinely care for the people and for my students. I'm not just going there to get a paycheck. So that's one thing. The other thing is that when I'm interacting with my students, I am 100% focused on them and helping them. And that's great because it takes me out of my negative headspace. The worst thing that I can do to myself is when I stay in my room and I dwell on the past and I think, I could have done this, I should have done this. And the regrets come, and it just is like a cycle, and I get more and more sad. And when I'm left by myself, I have this continuous dialogue in my head, and it is hell because I beat myself up. So going to work, interacting with people, it gets me out of my bad headspace, and that's the best thing. That's the number one thing. That's the number one reason that work helps me out. I also love interacting with the kids. I like them more than adults in certain ways because they don't have these preconceived biases. They don't treat me like an outsider. They don't alienate me like Japanese adults do. They're just pure and innocent, and they see the world in it's like a new place for them. And the way they see the world is wonderful. And love being in their world. So I'll tell you a couple stories from my work week. I teach these two kids. I mean, I teach a lot of kids, you know, during the week, and some you like and some you don't like. But two in particular that I really like are this brother and sister. The girl's name is Nagisa, and the brother's name is Kosuke. And I think they're like 8 and 10 years old. And they come into the school and they just bowl through the door, and they're just so filled with wonderment and energy, and they just love the games that I make for them. And I don't think they even realize that they're learning English. They just come because they love the games. But they kind of remind me of my childhood. And they're about the same ages apart as me and my sister were. So they remind me a lot of my childhood and, when I was a kid and playing with my sister, and their innocence and their happiness and their energy. It all rubs off on me in a good way. I really love teaching them. And the other day, we actually had another kid come into their class for a trial lesson, another boy. And his mom came in and watched. And I really don't like it when the parents watch, because it makes me a little more self-conscious, and I can't really relax the way I usually do when I teach. But I am glad that the parents come and watch the lessons once in a while, because it shows me that the parents care. They care about the quality of education that their kids are getting. And like I've seen teachers before that won't let parents watch the lesson, but I do, as long as it's not every time, every lesson, because I think that the kids need to have their parents out of the picture when they're doing a lesson, because if the kids know that their parents are watching them, they act differently, and the kids can't relax either. So as long as it's not every lesson, I don't mind having the parents come in and watch a lesson. So we had a trial lesson with this boy, and he came in, and his mom was watching too, and she was just really easygoing, so I didn't mind her watching it at all. But we played some games and, of course, learned some English. But what really touched me was at the end of the lesson, I said goodbye to them, and they got some candy at the end of the lesson as a reward. And I wasn't expecting this, but the boy who took the trial lesson, he said thank you, and then he bowed to me. And I was just like, wow, that is amazing. I can't imagine another job where I would get so much respect from a client or from a student. It just, I don't know. It was just something that really touched me. All right, guys. My future plans. I've really been thinking about this, and I could probably make a whole separate video or podcast about this. But I'm thinking about my life and, what's best for me. And I have some conflict here. Japanese winters are tough for me. They're tough because they're short days, short daylight hours, they're gloomy, and they're very cold. Well, they're cold for a guy who grew up in California, at least. But that's one thing that weighs on my mind. And I'm thinking of going to Arizona this winter. My two best friends live in the Phoenix area, and one of them is really, really, really open to having me be there for a couple months, and he's got a room for me and everything. So the place where I'm conflicted is I have these two things in my life, which are training and my work. And my fear is, rocking the boat, taking those elements out of my life. Because if I'm in a new environment, well, I can do training. I know I can do that. I can take that anywhere I go. I can do that anywhere I go. But the job is a different situation. And I know I can get a job if I go to another place. But here's where it gets kind of uncertain. The reason that I love my job is because I know my boss. I have a good relationship with her. And I've been working with her for 10 years. And like I said, I care for the people. I care for the students. They come and they look forward to meeting me. They trust me. And that's invaluable, And I guess, I don't know if I would work if I go to Arizona, because I'm thinking of staying for 2-3 months around there and then moving on. I might work, I might not work. But if I did work, my buddy says it's really easy to get a job there. I don't know about that, but I don't know. I'm scared of working at a place where it's not special. I'm just a body to do a job. Nobody gives a shit. I think that would really, on the other end of the spectrum, that would make me feel worse than not working at all. So I'm conflicted. I don't know what I should do. I have these two things in my life, my training and my work. And those are helping me keep it together. And I kind of don't want to mess with that formula. But at the same time, I don't want to give in to my fears in exchange for the benefits that I could gain from doing something new. There's been a lot of times in my life where I didn't go somewhere. I didn't try to change because I was scared. And that always left me in the same place, repeating the same cycle. A good example of that is that shitty apartment that I stayed in Kobe for 9 years. I didn't like that place. But I simply just didn't move because I was too scared to. So anyways, guys, these are some of the issues I'm dealing with. And it's something I've got to think about from now on. I have about another month to make a decision. Alright guys, well I'm coming to the end of my ride here, and how nice to end it with this beautiful scenery as the sun's setting over the city. The sun is, it's about 50 degrees out right now, and the sun feels great. I'm gonna ride down along the river, and that'll take me to Himejima Station, where there's a Gyomu supermarket. I'm gonna pick up some stuff for dinner. And I'll call it a day in terms of my workout. Guys, thanks for joining me today, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.